Hi, everybody. Welcome back to my YouTube channel. I hope you're all having a great day today. Welcome to the first video of the Christmas in July series. I'm filming this in April on a snowy day because for those of you who don't know, I live near Edmonton, Alberta in Canada. And of course, our springs are, we had 20 degrees Celsius last week, and now we have another inch of snow. So seemed like it was a good time to start doing the filming and kind of getting ahead for this. So this is going to be the first video for the Christmas in July series, Christmas in July 2026. Yeah, we're in 2026. Don't know why I don't know that at the end of April here, but there you go. So today I got this die set. Actually, I've had this for about 2 years, and I haven't utilized it yet. And I thought this would be really fun to make an easy Christmas card. And it's a set that creates this really cute ribbon and bow kind of thing. This is by Christina Werner. It was either her September or October release in 2024, and came out with some really beautiful like holiday dies and things like that. And so I've had it for a while. I'm going to use it for a Christmas card, but you could use this for a birthday card or anything that you wanted to make it look like a wrapped present or something like that. So it fits onto. Now you could trim this down for an A2 size card, but I think these things are called A7. So they're a 5 by 6.5. So it is certainly big enough. The ribbons are big enough to fit this size of um, card front. And what I thought would be kind of fun to kind of make it a little traditional, you could use gold, silvers, whatever you want to use. But I pulled out some paper from a paper pad, a 12 by 12 paper pad that I've had in my stash for a long time. So just thought that I would show you how to do this if you don't have this particular die as well. Some other options of things that you could do. So I'm going to put this one to the side here. So what I had done on this one is, when you get the 12 by 12 paper, so obviously this is the sheet that I used and cut up to fit onto my card front, and the size that I used. So the matting, the foil matting, is 4 3/4 by 6 1/4, and then the actual card front itself would be 4.5 by 6 inches. Okay, so I can get, obviously then that means I can get, cutting it by 6, I can get at least 4 fronts out of one of these 12 by 12 pieces of paper. Okay, so that was the original. But in these pieces, you get these wonderful cut aparts that are great when you're scrapbooking, but what are you supposed to do with them when you're card making, right? So this thing here could be cut down and you could make a tag and then put die cut that you already have, right? So you can trim this down so that's nice and small, cut the edges, and then put a die cut. So for example, I have a couple extras here off to the side. Let's see here. So I've got like this Merry Christmas. I can put that on there. That becomes then the tag that could be slotted through my ribbons here, right? Okay, so that is an option, something to that extent. You can use them this way. This would also be a great little tag. This one as well could also fit. Let's see here. I've got these. That would fit really lovely on there. Do a little hole punch. You can put it through. Now, let's say you don't want to use paper ribbon. You could actually use ribbon, like some thin ribbon. Just wrap that around your card. This, put a hole punch right here. That slots through. There you go. Very, very simple. This Happy Holidays would also make a really great little tag on the front so that it looks like a gift, right? This to me, this is how I wrap my presents often at Christmas. So that's what that would look like. Okay, so those are options for that. The other thing is, well, okay, Corinne, but I don't have that fancy little die that makes these, like that makes the ribbons. Okay, do you have a paper trimmer? If you have a paper trimmer, what you could do is on these guys, I actually cut out, it had some pieces of silver that coordinate. You could cut that out, trim that down, utilize that. There's this beautiful this thread here that says Merry Christmas. That would make a really nice ribbon going all the way across. This little scalloped edge, trim that down. This Merry Christmas and Glad Tidings would make a nice paper ribbon, right? Same thing as this little sheet of the white with the silver. Trim that out. Use your paper trimmer for that. Okay. Oh, that's also not going to work for me. I don't have I don't want to use that. Okay, well, have you got some extra cardstock, like some silver or some mirrored cardstock or whatever color? Maybe you're making a baby card, welcome baby or something like that, and you're just going to use some pink or some blue or yellow or green and just regular cardstock. Use your paper trimmer and just slice off 1/4 inch pieces. Very, very simple. Then you've got your ribbons going together, right? So that you can make the cross and make it look like you've wrapped it with ribbon. Okay. I don't have that fancy bow that you have there. I don't have that die. Okay. Well, look at what I made here utilizing, this is an old, now there are die cuts out there that you can find. In fact, I just saw one on a Facebook group that I follow. Somebody was asking, hey, does anybody know what this die is? They probably bought it off brand, so they weren't sure what it was. But this is exactly what it was. This is 3 pieces. So it cuts out the back, it cuts out this part which folds over, and then the center that wraps it. But what I actually used, maybe you have one of these tools. This is the We Are Memory Keepers, and it's a 3-in-1 punch board. So you can make an envelope, you can make a bow, various sizes, and you can make a box following the instructions on here. So maybe you have one of those in your stash. Could use that to make the bow instead. Okay. Here are some other options that I trimmed down that I could use as my tag as well. I could just make a simple gift tag out of that. Okay. So those are options. I'm going to put this to the side. And those are in all of the, pretty much any paper, particular if you're buying it from Michaels, or maybe if you're in the States, you're buying from Hobby Lobby, something like that. Any kind of paper pad. When I store my paper pads, I take the top off and it goes into a scrapbook album, and then I can I put it into an empty 12 by 12 album so that I then know what paper I have. I just have to pull out the album because these sit on a shelf, and I label them, and then I just have to look for this. But you can see here, like there's so many papers in this particular um, paper pad that, I mean, it's great to have for scrapbooking and everything like that, but sometimes you want something that's a little bit more, right? So this is obviously the page that I cut up to utilize. So you've got some really beautiful papers in here, but sometimes for me, like I do some folios and things like that, but you usually have something left over. What am I supposed to do with those things? Let's make some coordinating Christmas cards. Okay. So you can see here, this is the paper that I chose to make this particular card, right? Mm. So here's, again, this would be really lovely ribbon. This green and white here would make really nice ribbon. Even this happy holidays. These are all sorts of really nice paper ribbon. If you don't want to utilize some actual like silk ribbon or twine or something like that. Okay. All of those options would work. But these are some things that you can do then. How do I utilize my scrapbook book or my 12 by 12 paper pads that I have? Because I don't know about you guys, but I bought a ton of them from Michaels because they're usually, like, when you get the hot buy ones, they're such a good deal. Okay? And then what I did is I took my sentiment and I cut this out a few times. So it's actually layered. There's 3 levels on this particular one. So I layered it with black, and then I put some green over top of it, and then some red. Because this is how I had this. Now I have some extra cut. I also have the reverse, so I can make a second card of this. I'll have to find a different tag because there was only the one, but I have enough material left that I can make a second card utilizing these already. So I've got that off to the side here, but that's not what I'm going to do. I'm going to work on, I have this great, this is what I pulled out. So I'm going to, because it's very easy for everybody to find some plaid. Most people have plaid, right? In your stash someplace, find some plaid. It's a great equalizer in terms of if you're making a holiday card or a Christmas card. Okay. This is the tag that I pulled out of my paper pad. I trimmed it down, and then I also matted it in some silver because actually you can see here I cut the silver out. That's one of the few times that I was getting a little frugal with my paper here. I know that this particular piece is going to cover this. So I was able to mat my tag over top. So I just cut it out of the center and then glued that onto my cardstock. Okay. I'm not gluing this piece down yet because I want to be able to put my ribbons on here. And then be able to trim to the edge because I want this part to look like it's wrapped, not all the way around the silver. It's just going to be my card front. Okay. So I have a variety of options here that I have cut off to the side here. So I've got a bunch of black and a bunch of silver ribbons that have been trimmed, cut, whatever you want to call it. And yeah, so I'm gonna work with those. Now I could use so so I could use this big bow, okay, which is very cute. Stick that down. Now, if I was going to use this, you can see how much dimension that puts on this particular card, right? Like I don't want to flatten my bow too much. I might be able to fit that. I can fit this into an envelope, but I would probably not be able to put that through the mail. That's going to crush that, and then it's not going to look as nice. Okay, so that's one option of being able to do that, and I'll decide here if I am going to do that or not in a minute. But I'm going to decide on my sentiment. So I have this really lovely Merry Christmas. So if I put my tag on here, just a little cattywampus, that's an option there. And then I also have this lovely little joy that has the little tittle. So it's a pretty solid, and it adds just a little something on there. Okay. So whether I utilize the silver bow or the or one of these guys. That's what I'm deciding here. So do I want the black on the bottom, or do I want to use black as the shadow with the white, or sorry, with the silver? So I do have the black is standing here with the silver as the matte. So I think it's either going to be this one, then because I have the silver matted top, that. Do I like that? Because I've done the silver on top of this one. Ooh, decisions. Okay, the silver on top. So then that would mean I would be doing my black. So like this, and comes with the thicker piece like that. Okay. And then my silver. So these really long ones are the ones that I cut off of my 12 by 12 piece. I didn't cut those utilizing my die cut. Do. So this is what it looks like then with the silver on top instead. Okay, so the black with the silver, and let's get you under there. Come on now. Okie dokie. All right, so now my decision is I have to just, uh-oh, I just lost my tittle under there somewhere. Oh, there it is. Okay, let's put that to the side so we don't continue to lose that. All right, so now what I have to decide is which sentiment do I like on here and which bow do I like on here? Because I can use just these guys here. Use that bow. I don't think I'm going to use that one, but I could use this one, or I could also come in with that one. So a little far away there. Let's see here. What you guys think? So I've got that option, or I have that option. Or we have the Christmas. Now, this particular bow covers up a lot of my sentiment if I use that one, versus, oddly enough, this ginormous bow does not. That's kind of not bad, hey? Okay, I think this is the one that I want to use. I'm going to use this big bow. I'm going to showcase show you how that looks. Because again, this is probably, maybe you guys don't have this particular die. So how do we play with this? Because you guys may have this and or the availability to get to that kind of an item there. So we'll play with that. What does that look like there? Okay, so first of all, I'm going to stick down my Merry Christmas on my tag here. So kind of positioning it where I'm going to want to stick it down. We're going to pick this up and put some adhesive on the back of it. Now, again, you could use like a pop dot or sorry, sticky dots or something like that. I'm just using a little bit of liquid adhesive. Doesn't have to be a ton of it. And this, with the glue press, what's really nice is I can get some quite fine um, coverage in the smaller places and things like that. So it's not too bad. So I know that I'm going to want my bow to sit right about there. So let's put my sentient right there. Okay, I'm just going to put that off to the side for a moment and let that sit. All right, now these little silver guys. So these guys are extras. These will be for the next card because I can do again another because I have these guys ready to go. So we'll do that. So I'm just going to move these guys off to the side so I don't lose them. All right, so the thinner ones, I'm going to leave those to there. And okay, if that has settled in. So now what I need to do is I want to kind of determine how big and where am I going to have the placement of my bow, because my bow is going to sit kind of at the crossroads of where the two ribbons go. That's typically how I would do that. So I need to make sure that this is going to be able to sit on here um without coming off too much. A little bit is okay because I will have a bit of space under there, off the side. Because again, I've got another 1/4 inch, right? So theoretically, what I want is this is going to sit like that. How do I like that? Um, yeah, I think that's a really nice composition that way. Okay, so that means I can stick down. I'm going to stick down my cross pieces here. So I'm going to lift this one. And I want to try and get these as evenish as possible. Again, it's going to be, it's handmade. It's not perfect, so it doesn't have to be perfect, but I do want them to be somewhat straight. And that's only because I'm using such a straight grid pattern here on the buffalo check that I'm utilizing. Wasn't quite as bad on the other one because it had a more angular pattern, but this one's very straight. So I definitely want to make sure that I've got a pretty decent, pretty roughly decent straight line there. It's, visually straight enough. Now, the next one, this one here, I don't want it covering over the black. So I am going to make sure that I kind of bring it in here so it's sitting over top of that beige color. Yeah, I don't want too much black on black with this guy. Okay. And we're gonna go down yonder here. So that, varnish that in, that. Then I can turn this over. And again, this is why I didn't want to adhere this down to my base yet. I want to be able to come in and cut these guys off right at the edge. So, so So, wait. Okie dokie. Before that glues down to my surface here, let's throw that off to the edge, off to the garbage. Okay. So I'm pretty happy with that. Now, what I want to do is I'm going to adhere this cross piece here. So this smaller one of the silver. Get a bit of squidgy of some loose adhesive there. So how are you guys coming? Does everybody start their Christmas cards early? Are you looking forward to some inspiration for this season? Maybe you're somebody that doesn't have to make a ton of Christmas cards, which is, lucky for you. That's nice. Next week's video, which has been, I'm so ahead of the game at the moment. I don't want to jinx myself, but next week's video has been done, and it's a great gift giving idea utilizing photos. So you can make really nice family photo kind of collages. I call it paper quilting. A friend of mine, she started doing this years ago, and she utilizes artwork and puts her trip photos and things like that on it. And it's really, really nice. I love how she does it, and it just comes out so beautifully. And yeah, so that's I'm going to be showcasing that. So next week's video is a little longer because it is kind of a, again, like a crafty art PC thing. So it's going to take a bit of time. But hopefully you'll join for that. But you can put me on like double time or whatever, can kind of move through that way if you want. Um, once you get the technique, the beginning and the end are the most complicated parts, obviously. So stay tuned for that because it's going to be a great video and wonderful, wonderful option for gift giving. I've done Mother's Day gifts, Christmas gifts for both my dad, my mom, my sister-in-law. I've done like family photo things. What's really fun is well, yeah, you'll see it, but so I did a trip of hubby and I, and so I showcase those in our house. They go up our staircase, and so I get to see them all the time. So our photos are out of our trips. So now what I've done is I haven't glued down the top part of this ribbon. Okay, I've done the cross beam and I've done the bottom part, but I haven't glued down this part of the ribbon because I want to be able to slide that much like I would if I was doing like an actual Christmas tag, right? Like a Christmas um like a gift tag on a present. Okay, so I'm going to add some adhesive down on this guy here. So this could be another thing that you could try and pop this up too if you wanted to have a little bit of extra dimension. I'm pretty happy with most of the dimension that I have on here, but I'm going to thread this ribbon per se through my through the uh, through the little hole that I left for that. I'm going to push that down and glue it into place. So that means then I know that this is hitting at that crossroads, right? Which is what I wanted. That's where I want it to be. So, and again, I do have a little bit of overhang here. That's going to be okay on this edge here. I'm going to trim these, same thing. Okay. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to fold this part forward here, and I'm going to add in my adhesive onto this piece now. To the edge, and I'm going to pull that forward to the end, hold it in place there so that it starts to stick like so. Now, the interesting thing with these, because I used so much uh mirrored cardstock, like the shiny cardstock on here, I don't know, like if I look at this one, I don't know that needs any more bling. Like I don't need to do flat back pearls or sequins or anything like that. I'm pretty happy with the amount of bling that's on there. So now again, I'm going to come in and from the back, I'm going to trim the edges of my ribbon. So get those off the edge there. Now this is my tag, so I don't want to trim that off. I'm going to leave that piece because that's supposed to hang off. That's um, part of the design of it, right? So we have that there. And, let's do these here. Whoop, whoop. Off to the side there. Okay, so here we are with our card front. Okay, so I'm going to stick this down. So this, even on its own without the bow, really cute. But I could still come in if I wanted to, and I could put this bow on here. Really nice, very, very cute. But first of all, I'm going to stick this down to my card front here. So again, even if you don't have the bow maker, like the either the bow punch board that I'm utilizing for that bigger bow, if you don't have that, or the die, or something to that extent, where you don't want to tie your own bow, because you could again do like a fabric bow or like a ribbon, an actual ribbon bow, and stick it on here. That would work. Um, Utilizing it this way, what I'm seeing, just get a little bit of squidgy out the side here. Let's get that. That. And I want to do this, varnish into place. So if you had some tags, you could actually just leave it like this. There's nothing wrong with this. This is a very nice, actually, this is a great masculine card. They don't necessarily need the bow, right? They don't, they don't necessarily need something like this. So you would have, let's say you've got your, you can cut slightly thicker. Again, if you're just using your paper trimmer, I would say that this is about 1/2 inch. Let me see how big that is. No, this is a 1/4 inch, and then the mirrored cardstock would be 1/8 of an inch. But that would be very easy to cut on a paper trimmer, whether you have the slicer or you have a guillotine one like I do. Just slice it out, and you can do the same thing on top of your plaid background, whatever. Edge your mat, your tag, put a sentiment on it, call it good. So here's what it looks like with the die that comes with the set, with the little bow again. So it's fairly flat that way, not a lot of lift to it. But here's what it looks like with the die that with the punch bow. Oh my gosh, that's so cute. Okay, so for this one now then, what I'm going to do is I'm going to come in and add some adhesive to the back of the bow part here, like that. And I'm going to stick this in place like so. I want to, basically what I want to do is I want to make sure that I'm covering where the hole was. And I'm going to bring in, I have some reverse tweezers here. Should have lifted this up in the first place. And I'm going to see if I can get this. Oh, they don't go far enough. Whoosh. Let me see if it goes far enough that way. Ooh, it just does. No, I'm going to have to hold it. My reverse tweezers don't go far enough in, which is kind of a bummer, but that's okay. I can just hold this for a couple of minutes. What's nice is because I did put some adhesive on the back of the back part of the bow, it is going right onto the paper. So it will adhere. Whereas sometimes utilizing mirrored cardstock, because it's a non-porous surface, your liquid adhesive, sometimes it can take a while to dry. So it might take a moment for it to feel like it's actually on here. I don't want to mark up my adhesive, or sorry, my mirrored cardstock too much. Look at that. Look at how cool that is. That is such a classy, classy card. Now, I can put this into an envelope. This will compress a bit. See, watch. I can compress that a bit. But again, this is not a card. This would be a card that I would hand deliver to somebody. I would not put this one in the mail, because if it went through the mail and it goes through the mailing machines, that is going to get flattened, and then it's going to put a crease on it, and it will could crack, things like that. So this guy, I would just I can fit it in an envelope. It will flatten enough to fit into an envelope. But again, like this would be one that I would hand deliver. So that, guys, again, I'm going to encourage you to pull out your pot by your paper pads, find a good background that has some color or that has a neutral pattern to it. Doesn't have to be as neutral as this. I like the plaids. This is a great masculine card, especially if I hadn't done this big bow on it. But the plaid works really nice as well. Those would be really great. Utilize the tags. Yeah, one of my paper pads I noticed just has, that's all they've got on on two of the pages actually, is just tags. So check out your stash, see what you've got in there. Then if you don't have this particular die, that's fine. You don't need this die. I mean, if you want it and you want to be able to do this, something like this, sure, go ahead and find it. It's Christina Warner with Concord and Ninth, her September it was either September or October of 2024 release. So it's one of her first releases with them. That's who created that. But you can make the ribbons yourself. Utilize just ribbon from your stash. Take some cardstock, trim it down into thinner pieces, stick that down. Utilize the tags that come in your paper packs. Here's another good example. This would be another great tag. I've got this great, so I've got a little hole punch the hole through the end of the tag. If you happen to have, this is my crocodile and it has an angle punch on it. So you pop open the sides here and you can just go in, do like this, attach the edges. Now it actually looks like a tag. Put in my, uh, use my hole punch. Woof, right there. Good. I've got my tag now. And now I can just put on my, let's see here. Well, I'll use this because you'll be able to see it on there. But look, now I've got my Merry Christmas die. So if you have simple dies already at home, okay, so this is just a simple Merry Christmas. It's a smaller one. So you want smaller ones that are going to fit on there. Some of them you might already have like a sentiment on it, like this one. This was part of one of my paper packs as well. So it says Merry Christmas already. So if I bring this, let's go to the edges here so I can trim it like that. Merry Christmas. I can trim it down a little bit, make it a little smaller. Okay. If I put this, but maybe some gold behind that, pop that on there, some gold or some green, whatever, could be black, you know, something that's nice and bright, that would be great. Put a little hole right here, make it look like my tag. Merry Christmas, all done. I don't have to do anything else to it. If you don't have one of these crocodiles, it's a great little chipping tool, but you might have like what's like a corner rounder. Same thing. Corner rounders also work. You can make it nice and soft, give it a nice edge to it, and then do your chomping from there. If you don't have that, pull out your paper trimmer and you can just do the edges on it. Do a little deeper cut on here. That's a possibility as well. Sort of like I pull in my paper trimmer. And so I'm looking at this and I've got this. I'm going to turn. So I could do a kind of a deeper cut here. And just do, let's see, I want to figure out how can I measure that. So that's one side. And then kind of line that up that way. I think that should work. That's not bad. It's a little too deep, but that's okay. I can work with that. And then I trim down in order to make this look not quite so deep. So like so, there. That looks very much like a tray. It's good for a homemade tag, no problem. If you're good with scissors, you can even just do the scissors. You can chop those edges yourself, right? So then I'm going to pull in my paper punch here, or my hole punch. And this is a tiny little guy, but works. If you don't have one of these, maybe you've got an eyelet setter, so you can punch a little hole through. But there's my new tag. This is the bigger one. Nope, that one's not going to fit through there. Let's try this silver one here. So I can pull this through just like a ribbon. Oh, come on now. Whoop, there we go. All right. And sticking my ribbon down. Exactly the same thing. Nothing different. Okay. So yeah, pull out, check and see what you've got in your paper pads. I bet you, much like myself, well, maybe, maybe you're better at utilizing your supplies. And if you are, way to go. That's awesome. That's a great thing. But if you're not, and you're a lot like me, and you have these things sitting around and you're looking to bulk create, these could be some really great options because you can get out of each 12 by 12, you're going to get 4 bases. You should have on your 12 by 12 pad, you'll probably have 6 to 12 of the tags. If you've got your mirrored cardstock, you can cut that up. If you don't want to use shiny, you can just use regular, just the same as the black that I used. And these bows, utilize it for whatever you have, whether it's birthdays, you're trying to make a nice birthday card, anniversaries, love like a Valentine's, you could do for, again, Christmas, welcome babies, congratulations on your new house, all of those, happy retirement, right? This would be a great little card designed for any of those occasions. It's week one of Christmas in July, but it would work for any of those occasions. That's going to be the video today, guys. I hope you really enjoyed it. If there's something specific Christmassy that you would like to see or holiday-ish, please, by all means, put it down in the comments. Remember to like, comment, and subscribe. Share it with your friends. Yeah, and if you are enjoying my class length videos and doing this along with me, and feel like you would like to help support the cause, my Buy Me a Coffee link will be in the description below. Other than that, I will see you guys in the next video. You all take care. Bye-bye.